Good to go?
Ready to go. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Episode 13.
Welcome to the Broker Loaded Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt Studley.
My name is Dan Grimes, a broker here in Canada's capital.
I'm a realtor, not a broker.
Well,
You know,
you're realtor representative.
a sales representative,
Yes.
otherwise known as. The Broker Loaded Podcast is a podcast all about real estate. Real talk about real estate is what we like to call it, Danny. Real talk about real estate.
Real talk about real estate. It's been a while, as you can see, since we shot one of these, so let us get our footing.
We have brand new facilities, brand new studio, if you want to call it that, here in Riverside South. We also have better sound, better quality. It's all good, Danny.
It's good. It's far more comfortable, and it'll be more comfortable for the guests that we plan on having in as well.
We do have plans to have some guests on the program, like mortgage brokers, like other real estate agents, brokers,
Other realtors.
things like that here on the program. This podcast, like we said, is all about real estate and you know the things that are happening in the marketplace currently, ideas, things we can toss around. Love to talk about real estate. Everybody does.
There's a lot to talk about these days.
There sure is. So, do you want to dive right in?
No, I want to explain what's changed since our last podcast. Back in the day on episode number 12,
Yes.
you were with a large national franchise.
I was.
I was with the Ottawa Property Group Realty, a small local brokerage here in Ottawa.
Yes.
And
That
no,
has
I
changed.
didn't go to the large national.
The opposite
Kurt
happened.
came.
Yeah.
You came over here.
So we're both professional realtors. Danny's a broker too, with Ottawa
Means
Property
nothing.
Group,
Yes.
and happy to be so. We decided to do that for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
Less arguing about the podcast. That's not working. And we get a chance to actually work together because we're a couple of realtors who have the same ideas about what we want to do, how we want to operate, how we want to serve our clients. So it just seemed to make sense.
Yeah, it made sense after probably our third or fourth podcast that we shot.
Yeah.
We were just on. And it gives us the ability to talk about things that maybe we, because of competition and the different brokerages, we weren't able to discuss.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
In terms of marketing, commissions, which we'll deal with future episodes.
But if you're looking for transparency when it comes to real estate, you've come to the right place.
100%.
This is it. We're just going to talk about real estate and what it really is and what really happens and what really the situation is right now. And of course, all the talk lately, Danny Grimes, is about interest rates and their effect on the housing market here in the nation's capital.
Yeah.
And across the country, really.
Well, yeah, but, you know, across the country, I mean, every market is different. We're from Ottawa, members of the Ottawa board, so let's just discuss what's happening here. The rise in interest rates have certainly, did I say that right?
Yeah, well, you kind of slurred your interest, but
And it's
I know.
it's only 1:30, so
PM.
no. There's
PM.
PM, so there's good point.
Yes.
No, the rate's going up. We're finding that a lot of buyers, of course, a lot of the buyers, they're sitting on the fence. Some refer to it as they're getting slivers. They've been on the fence so long. But they do have a big decision to make. And if I was a first-time buyer, any buyer, with the talk and the way the economy or the economists are talking, do we buy now with the higher rates, or like they're expecting the rates to start going down in the third quarter, do we wait until the rates start going down?
Right. And there's a lot of confusion out there. I mean, let's
Yeah.
face it, the things we're seeing in your standard media is it's kind of all doom and gloom when it comes to the housing market. And, the effects on interest rates have effects on everything. And they certainly affect
They do.
real estate here in the nation's capital. But is there still opportunity? Is there still a chance to own the home that you really want to own, or sell the home and move on to something else? The answer is yes, opportunity exists, and that's why it's called a market, because there are fluctuations in the market. It's a different market than it was 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, 18 months ago, a year ago, and it's way different than 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's not as easy to predict today or over the last couple of months.
No.
But I think, you know, you look to this podcast for advice and our opinion, and it's never been a bad move to buy real estate.
No.
Nobody's ever lost money long term in real estate here in the city of Ottawa.
Yeah.
Prices have gone down. I remember in the Glebe back in the 80s, they dropped 10 or 20% at one time, but within a year or two, they had recovered and, you know, they had gone right up again. Today, the buyers, like when I refer back to the decision that the buyer has to make, I'm of the opinion that they should be buying now when the prices, you know, have softened a bit, and in many areas substantially.
Right.
When we originally got together last week to talk about interest rates and what we're going to talk about today, the difference being I saw 3-year mortgage rates, 3-year mortgage rate, fixed term, advertised just this morning at 3.75%.
That's not so bad.
Well, I'd take it.
It really isn't that bad.
It beats 7% or, you know, back in the day, 18.
Do you think gone are the days of the lower interest rates, like the hovering around 2% or just 2.05, things like that? Are they a thing of the past?
Or if you're a thing of the past for the near future, maybe over the next few years.
Yeah, that's fair.
But we're going to see them come back down again.
Right. And what happens when interest rates go back down, when the effect on the housing market is?
Well, that's what the buyer has to decide, because prices go up. So if interest rates were cut in half today, you would see prices going up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
That's how inflation works.
Yeah.
That's the effect, the rise and fall when it comes to interest rates and what effect that has on various things, housing included. So the biggest question is, do I buy now? Do I wait till later? So you have lower prices, higher interest rate. You have lower interest rate, higher prices. Which way do you want to go? Which way do you want to deal with it?
I would be telling just get in the game.
Yeah.
Get in the game.
It always comes down to that, doesn't it? Get in the game.
Get in the game. And if you're buying for long term, and really long term used to be you want to be in this home 10, 15, 20 years. Long term now for a lot of first time home buyers is 3 to 5 years.
You want to be in the game so that you can
absolutely.
be in the game long term.
I'd rather deal with a bit of interest rate pain today.
Right.
And it's not significant, Kurt. You know, we're not, like, it's just not.
Well, I think it's significant in terms of it has an effect on your decision-making process. So, you know, the options are still there, though. You know, you need to talk to a mortgage specialist about what effect it has on you and what kind of route you want to go. For example, one of the things we've talked about here in the current situation is, okay, if I want to buy a home now, prices are low. That's good. Interest rates are high. I'm willing to absorb some short-term pain in terms of a higher interest rate for, let's say, a year, for example, right? A fixed for a year or a variable for a year, and ride that wave. And maybe in a year, and we expect this, that interest rates will be a little bit lower or on the decline. So maybe you extend for another year, depending on the situation, but you have options to renew your mortgage after a year and change the interest rate at that point.
Yeah, I don't think you'd have anybody in the mortgage industry. And I was listening to somebody from Desjardins, their chief economist for all of Canada. I think his name's Jimmy John or something.
Jimmy John.
Jimmy John. Sounds like a sausage company, eh?
Jimmy John.
Yeah, that's his name. That's his name. I was listening to him, and I mean, I don't think anybody, mortgage advisor, would be telling anybody to go out and take a 5-year fixed term today, or even a year from now. Well, maybe a year from now, depending on what the rates are.
Right.
And if you're risk adverse, well, then a fixed longer term is probably the product for you.
Yeah.
You know, but today, if I'm a first time buyer, I think if you want to get into the market, it's really, really important to be looking to buy either right now in the next 30 days, certainly over the next 90 to 120 days. And we have seen mortgage rates, they've come down just an inch.
Especially mortgage rates,
for
Not
sure.
necessarily interest rates. There's a difference between mortgage rates and interest rates.
Very good point.
Interest rates are a broad spectrum. And that's why, to me, when I see these media reports they basically scratch the surface, and they cover a broad area of financials that people are responsible for, be it their housing, be it their food costs, be it their gas costs, etc. They cover a broad spectrum. Mortgage rates deal with mortgages, and oftentimes they're reflected differently than the rates for other things like a regular loan, for example. It's not the same. A mortgage is different, and there's still the ability, despite the fact that interest rates have gone up, there's still the ability to shop around for your mortgage rate and your mortgage term.
Oh, and don't forget the lenders too are very, very competitive with one another. So it's like anything else. If one lender sees another lender offering one particular term at a discounted rate, what they're doing is they're trying to draw clients in.
Sure.
Because they know it's a short-term thing. But once you have somebody in and you're the mortgagee, the odds are they're going to keep dealing with you down the road.
Right.
And I also think buyers today have an opportunity. Anybody who is looking to buy a condo, I use condos because I've been following the condo market out here. You were probably paying $450,000 to almost $600,000 for a 2-bedroom condo. Now, depending on the age, the model, like the ones out here that sold closer to six.
Out here, you mean
Riverside South, the Crescendo, the Harmony models out here. They've come down about $50,000, $75,000
right
in the last really 7 months.
Right.
But where the opportunity lies for a young first-time couple who thought they were going to have to spend $500, not our listing, but I showed one out here. Really, really nice. 2-bedroom condo, 3-story walk-up, but this was on the ground floor with a patio, not a balcony, a patio out your sliding doors.
Right.
Backing onto the woods. It's for sale today for $389,000.
And it's a 2-bedroom condo?
2-bedroom condo.
What are the condo fees on something like
The
that?
condo fees were about $350.
That's reasonable.
Reasonable today.
Right.
Reasonable
That's
today.
a good deal. Is it nice?
Yeah, I showed it to an investor. He just happens to like the 2-level model. He'll pay more and get a 2-level model.
Okay.
But it's sitting there right now at $389,000. I thought it would have sold right away.
Yeah.
It should have sold right away. It hasn't. So that tells us.
And again, buyers are sitting on the fence. They're kind of waiting. They're trying to make the best decision possible. And, it's a pretty balanced market right now, the amount of inventory out there.
Pretty balanced. There's a lot of chat, though. The last 2 or 3 days on our chat lines, our social chat rooms that we go into,
Right.
where a lot of realtors are saying, is anybody else?
I just imagine Danny going into the door of a chat room.
Into a chat room.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of sounds wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Kind of like a champagne room.
Now, I do have a quick question for you. You mentioned the Crescendo and the Harmony models.
Yep.
Based on name alone, Danny, without seeing the property, would you pick a Crescendo or a Harmony?
Well, we're approaching Valentine's Day, so Harmony has to be my choice.
Nice call.
Exactly. But listen, back to the chat line and the champagne room.
No,
I wish I hadn't referred to.
That's different than a chat room at all. You did not refer to a champagne room until just now. But anyway.
Okay. But on our group chats and even a social that we went to, real estate social, shout out to Rachel Hammer, Hammer for organizing that.
Just the other day.
Agents are talking, they were asking everybody, are you getting multiple offers on properties? Because I've been putting offers in and I've ran into a couple of multiple offer situations.
Right.
So the trend, there's a little more on the market now. And, once realtors start talking about multiple offers, shorter market time in certain areas,
right.
That tells you a lot of those buyers that I referred to as getting slivers sitting on the fence, they're coming down.
So there is opportunity for buyers.
For sure.
So our best recommendation, I think, would be, for a first-time buyer or a buyer of any sort, really, strongly consider taking a look at the market right now while prices are low, and you can deal with mortgage rates as they evolve. Okay, prices are not on homes are not going to stay down forever. They probably won't be at their peak like they were maybe a year ago, whatever that was, a year and a bit ago, but they will come back up. So we're recommending to buyers to basically get out there and get in the game, get yourself a home. What are we going to tell sellers, though? Because sellers are looking at, prices are down, interest rates are up, there's maybe not as many buyers out there. Do I really want to, put my home up for sale? But there's opportunity there as well.
Well, there's a contradiction because we're telling buyers to buy low, and sellers that are listening to us are going, well, then why would I want to sell now when you've just said rates are going to come down, prices are going to go up?
Right.
Probably in the last quarter this year.
Well, there's a good reason for that. And there are different types of sellers out there. There are those people who have to sell. Maybe they're being transferred.
Sure.
Right? Maybe they are downsizing to the point where they're just going to rent. Maybe they're becoming snowbirds. Maybe they, there may be several reasons why they really want and need to sell. There are others out there who are taking their townhome that they purchased a few years ago, 3 to 5 years ago, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Their family's growing. They want to get into a single family home. So remember, prices are down. So your opportunity to move into a bigger home, a single family home, a country home, whatever the case may be, from your townhome, that opportunity exists. And it's a lower price than it was before.
Yeah, more so now than ever that I can remember, because we've never, and the industry has talked about this, we've never seen a townhome and a low-end single so closely priced and going on the market, where we were getting townhomes coming on the market for $700, $750, and the lower out here, the lower end singles were in around $800,000 at the peak. You could still buy a single car garage on a 40 by 110 foot lot out here for just over $8.
Right.
So there was only that, in many cases, not even $100,000 disparity. Well, that still exists.
Right.
That still exists because there's been probably 3 or 4 sales out here that I've watched closely. And Canada's no different.
Quick reference to out here. Every time you hear out here, means Riverside South.
Okay, Riverside South.
Okay.
Riverside South. Just before Manotick, as most people out here like to describe it.
Just before Manotick?
Just before. It's the proper left-hand turn when you're going down River Road.
Yes.
Yeah. So I go to Manotick for the self-car wash. Best deal in town, by the way.
What's it called?
I don't know.
You don't know what it's called?
No, I don't know. I just know when I go in there for $3, you could, you can do 3 cars for $3.
$3?
It's crazy. It's a good deal.
Who couldn't use a car wash right now?
No, I went yesterday.
So did I.
Big lineup.
Yep.
And pulled a Yui.
One of the do-it-yourself ones?
Yeah, do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress. We're in Riverside South. So any reference to out here, ladies and gentlemen, means
Riverside South. So back to that townhome. When you sell your townhome, you're going to be buying, that lower end home that sold 7 or 8 months ago for $850.
Yes.
There's 2 that have sold for $800 now. So if you can get out of your townhome $600 to $650 and get into a single for $150 more,
right?
Do it.
If you're in a position to do
it.
Yeah. So that's our reasoning when we're recommending to people to buy. We're also recommending sellers, if you want to move up in terms of the size of your property, the quality of your property, the type of your property. Good opportunity sitting right here with prices down. And yes, you too will have to deal with interest rates and mortgage rates and all that sort of thing. But
Correct.
You're always going to have to deal with that, no matter what the situation is, right?
100%.
That cycle doesn't end. It goes
never.
on and on. So
Never.
You deal with it as it comes at you. But to get into the home is the key here.
Absolutely.
Right.
And like I say, there's great opportunities moving from either that 2-bedroom condo into a townhome into a single. Now, every realtor likes to have their for sale sign on a front lawn.
I'm one of those realtors.
I am one of those too. However, we're about straight real estate, straight talk, right to the bones. What would your recommendation be to, let's say, that senior citizen living in a senior semi-detached bungalow whose plan is to sell their home? The reason they want to sell is to go into a rental because they're going to be snowbirds for 6 months of the year.
Right.
What do you recommend to them?
That's a good question.
Well, I had that conversation with one out here on Green Gables last week.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to put a sign on the front lawn because I know they're very rare and it would sell. They all sell.
Yes.
However, they are selling their home to rent a property, an apartment or a condo.
Mm-hmm.
They want to sign a long-term, like a 3-year lease, because they're now at the stage where they're going to be snowbirds and they're going to be going down to Mexico for 7 months of the year,
Mm-hmm.
which as a senior you can do that. That's one of the few places you can do it down there, and Canada allows you to be out for more than 6 months now. I had to honestly tell them, well, then I don't think the best time for you to sell is now,
Mm-hmm.
because I can, in the market, nobody can predict what the market is going to be like come October or November.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe consider waiting until September and putting it on the market and having it sell and close before you go down south.
Right.
For the sake of another, 6 months or 7 months, you may benefit great. There may be a 10% increase in the value of your home.
Right.
So,
Which is worth it in the end
oh my Lord.
if you're selling to.
Yeah, they sell for $650,
Right.
$650, $700,000.
Right.
So 10%.
Yeah. That makes a difference, especially when you're planning for your retirement. And yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So
100%.
there are various routes to go. And that's one of those situations where selling right at the moment probably would not benefit you. There are other options there too, considering the rental market. If you're open to that idea, you could rent your home.
You could rent your home.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely could.
That's
Yeah,
a possibility.
for sure. Most of the seniors that I deal with, though, they don't even, and it would be this is the advice I would give somebody who's an active 70-year-old couple. They plan on selling their home because they're going down south for 6 or 7 months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And just a word of advice to any seniors listening out there. Don't forget, if you rent a condominium, be it short-term or long-term, meaning a 1-year or a 3-year lease, at some point during your tenancy, the owner may decide to sell that place, and then at the age of 73, you may be asked to go find another place to live.
Right.
So there's many, many new, first time in my career, you're seeing a lot of rental unit, brand new rental buildings being built.
Mm-hmm.
They're not registered condominiums or any of the existing apartment buildings, and there's many nice ones throughout the region.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them want to go into a rental because you have tenancy. You're not going to be asked to leave because the owners decided to sell the
That's
home.
right. That's
A
right.
lot of them don't consider that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them don't.
There's also the other avenue we wanted to explore today was, that new home builds are, there's interesting things happening in the new home world. There was, a frenzy, a lineup, a waiting list that was years long for a while there.
That's right.
And then many projects ended up sliding off the rails a little bit and canceled and changed and delayed for various reasons because of the economic situation and COVID and so on and so forth. But we did witness something that's really disturbing in the last week or so, where a new home construction company folded right underneath all of its clients and its employees.
Yeah, that, for any of you following, that's been in the media certainly the last week. And it is a real shame, because from all reports, he was taking deposits on new construction, rebuilds right up until last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And he shut the close. Everybody, including the employees, got locked out on the Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's premeditated. They knew what they were going,
Although nobody else knew it was coming.
Nobody knew it was coming.
No.
And the other thing to consider about new home builds too, watch the prices of the new releases coming out, because we were talking to one big builder out here,
Yep.
Riverside South, where I am, and
I'm also in Riverside South at the moment.
yes, and a lot of the same models are coming out at drastically reduced prices. There's one builder we looked at.
Yep.
The same model today is $150,000 less
Right.
than that model 15 months ago. But touching back to what's happened, I forget the name of the construction company off the top of my head. Not hard to find out. But not only were they building new home projects and taking people's deposits and substantial down payments, from all reports that I've read, he told people, don't worry, your money's insured. But when they got hold of Terrion, he in fact wasn't registering any of the sites or any of the projects that were being built with Terrion. So that money's gone. It's gone. And
There's
one
nothing
woman
you
they
can do.
interviewed-
So the Terrion warranty, that's one of the things it does.
One of the things.
It
protects.
It protects the purchaser of the home, whether it's to be built, half built, or completely built.
Well, and then of course any defaults or effects after occupancy. But in this particular case, they interviewed one woman and her husband, and they're out $250,000,
That's right.
and they're never getting that back.
No.
So, you have to watch out if you're working
Hybrid construction.
Pardon?
Hybrid construction.
Hybrid construction.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just a little bit of advice when you're getting into that world of building your new home, be it a large builder, small builder, or in between. Cover your own butt by making sure that you're not handing over money till you know that it is insured and there's a Terrion warranty in place.
Oh, you get there has to be. You have to.
Don't hand over a dime till, we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars, even $100,000 plus that people have invested, and it's gone.
It's gone. They're never getting it back.
No.
They're never getting it back.
There's no way to get it back.
And you can call Terrion directly. If it's a small home builder who builds 2, 3, or 4 homes a year, they're required. They're required, if they're not going to occupy the home, they're required to register that property with Terrion. And it's simple. Once you have an address for the property, a legal description of the lot, the permit, you can always call them directly, and they'll verify whether or not that property has been registered, and it's for your protection.
That's right. That's right.
You don't have to worry about that with any of the larger major home. You don't have to worry about that with any reputable builder, regardless of size.
No, you don't have to worry about that. And I'm sure a lot of people involved with this company that shut down thought they didn't have to worry about that. But in the end, so do your homework, make sure you understand what the Terrion warranty is and how you're covered or not, to make sure before you start handing over large quantities of money.
Right.
Because in many cases you're obliged to put up a certain amount of money over certain periods of time, certain stages of the build, right? Yeah. Make sure that you've got that insurance, that Terrion warranty is in place and they're registered before you move forward with handing over cash, because you need to know that. That's something you need to know, and obviously some people are finding that out.
Yeah, and
right
it's not the
now.
first time this has happened over the years.
No.
Too. So to sum up today's show,
it's good to be back on the rails, right?
Well,
it's good to be back.
Yeah, it started to feel more comfortable halfway through.
Right.
But I think all the information we wanted to put out there today we have. If you're a buyer, it would be our suggestion. I think we're both on board with this. I would rather pay a point and a half higher over the next year,
right,
and buy at a lower price than to wait for the rates to come down, because traditionally prices are going to go up. We're starting to see them creep up anyway right now in pockets. It's going to happen.
Yeah, but the time is, the opportunity is there to
definitely
to maybe get the best price possible on a lot of homes in a lot of areas here in the nation's capital. the best thing to do would be contact excellent realtors,
like ourselves,
and we could help you.
and we
right.
deal with you directly one-on-one.
Yes, when it comes to that, we're not. You won't be, greeted by someone who's a receptionist or anything like that, or someone who answers the phones. We answer our phones. We deal directly with people. Some people like working with bigger teams, and that's fine too.
Perfect.
But if you want that one-on-one service, that personal service, that's what realtors like us provide, and we're happy to do so and answer any of your questions. Speaking of which, here on the Broker Loaded podcast, which is the podcast you're currely watching.
Or listening to.
Right.
Geez,
We welcome any questions you might have, any situation that might come up in real estate or related to real estate that poses a question to you would be an interesting question for us, I'm sure. And if we don't know the answers, Danny knows them all. But if we don't know the answers, we'll find out for you. In the future, we plan to have guests on this program who will answer a lot of those questions from mortgage brokers, for example. That sort of thing that can provide you with the information you need and put you in a place where you're comfortable. And that's what buying a home is all about, really.
Absolutely.
Being comfortable.
You've got
I'm just glad you're comfortable.
You have to be confident in the person who's representing you. We go over that in our buyer seminar,
right?
Which is coming up soon. We'll keep everybody posted on that when
right.
we're running our next one.
Right.
So to sum up, I dealt with the buyers, and then if you're considering selling your home, of course, call us. But we'll give you the straights. I mean, some people shouldn't be listing their home and marketing it right now, depending on their situation.
Exactly. Lots to discuss in the future. We hope you enjoy the Broker Loaded podcast. We do have a Facebook page. Broker Loaded podcast can be found on Facebook, where you'll find all of our previous episodes and our current episodes.
Sure.
We're on all the places where you love to listen to podcasts. We are there. Spotify is one of Danny's favorites. We're on that.
Just search the Broker Loaded podcast.
Simple as that. And we've got an email address too if you want to get in touch. Ask a question, make a comment, whatever you have to say.
The Broker Loaded podcast at gmail.com, which is right on the bottom of your screen now.
Is it? Is it though?
Well, not right now. We have to process this, but all of our contact information would be there. You know what? If you have our phone numbers, just text one of us. That's the easiest and quickest way probably to get a reply.
You can reach me, Kurt, at kurtstudley.com or at 613-282-6066.
And you can reach me at the number right below me right now.
Oh, I see where you're headed.
613-552-3727.
It's the Broker Loaded podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Real talk about real estate. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you next time. Have a great day.
Go Habs, go.